I've got to get to what's going on in the education world here in Kansas and also nationally with our good friend Dave Trabert, who I know has a very complex palate. Good morning, Dave. How are you? Thanks for being here. There he is. You there, Dave? We got you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Good stuff, my man.
All
We
right.
appreciate you joining us. How you doing this morning?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
It's always good to have you on the show. Hey, let's just start locally. You guys wrote about this at the Sentinel, and it was about a free legal hotline for Kansas school board members. What is this, and why is this important for parents to know about as they go through another school year here in Kansas?
Well, a little background first. So the Sentinel is one of 4 companies that operate under the KPI umbrella, and another one is our Kansas School Board Resource Center. It works directly with local school board members, providing all the same kind of training and services that the State School Board Association provides, but with 2 exceptions. We don't charge for our service, and everything we do is student-focused. So the one thing we weren't able to do was provide a legal hotline. But now our affiliate, the School Boards for Academic Excellence, is providing that. So kind of think of it like, on one side you've got the National School Board Association, which says parents ought to be treated as terrorists, and affiliates like the Kansas Association of School Boards. So we have School Boards for Academic Excellence and the Kansas School Board Resource Center. They are now providing a free legal hotline for Kansas school board members. So you can go to their website or go to ours and get directed to it. Ours is ksbrc.org. And you send in a question and a Kansas attorney will respond. Their SBAE is working with the Kriegshauser Nye law firm. A lot of people know Ryan and Josh. And so they're going to be able to provide a legal service, not legal advice, but provide answers to legal questions for Kansas school board members.
So right now, obviously, when transparency is lacking, what are the biggest benefits of this for Kansans and parents who have their kids in the schools?
Well, I'll go back to everything we do is student-focused, and that's also true of School Boards for Academic Excellence. So school board members complain routinely that they're not able to get what they believe is unfiltered legal answers that are to help school board members. So the most example was when the Biden administration tried to implement a change to Title IX back in April and saying by August 1, you have to let boys and girls decide which restroom they want to use, or you're going to lose federal funding. Well, the State School Board Association immediately started advising you need to adopt policies, change, and do this now. We took a different approach. We had an attorney work with us and said, look, this is going to be challenged in court. There is probably going to be an injunction. You don't have to do anything now. Wait and see. And so it was there's a difference between do what the system wants and extend its political, social agenda, or give straight advice to school board members that helps them be more student focused.
Well, this is certainly something that I hope that people will take advantage of and learn more about. The article is at the Sentinel, sentinelksmo.org. Dave Trabert with the Kansas Policy Institute is here on KCMO. I got to ask you about the big national story that dropped yesterday, Dave, and that is that the Trump administration is weighing big cuts to the U.S. Department of Education. What would this look like in Dave Trabert's perfect ideal world, and how is this beneficial to students across Kansas and across the nation?
Well, I guess in my perfect ideal world, there would be no federal Department of Education because with the little bit of money that comes, I mean, federal funding is typically less than 10% of a school district's funding. But there's a lot of strings that come, like you will do No Child Left Behind. You will do Common Core. There's all kinds of things, and then there's all the DEI things that start bleeding in. So ideally, we shouldn't have one. Education decisions need to be made locally. I was in Ottawa last night, and the same thing came up. And the example I gave them was, how many people in Washington know what is needed in Ottawa, Kansas versus Baltimore or Wichita? They don't. These decisions have to be made by local school boards. And so there's just not a role for the federal government. If they want to provide money, block grant it. Just send it, and you don't even have to have a Department of Education. That could come from the Treasury. Send out block grants, no strings attached. Here's money to use for meals, special education, whatever. Just use it for that, and we're done.
So I see here that the Department of Education has a budget of $268 billion. It's the sixth highest funded federal agency. So even if you said, I'll keep that money, but we'll just give it to the states to then disperse to the school districts for meals and things like that, you could still either save a lot of money because you'd have no more employees than the Department of Education, or you would reallocate the money that is used towards employees and actually send it down to the schools to, I don't know, here's a novel concept, help the kids in the schools, right?
Right. So, for example, by federal law, the Department of Education is supposed to cover a lot more of the special education costs for states. It's supposed to be around 40%. Most recently, it's been closer to 12%. So they could take that extra money they'd save from not having all the bureaucracy and actually fulfill the federal obligation to fund special education, and that would take pressure off Kansas taxpayers who have to make up the difference.
And I see that they have 4,400 employees, so think about how much money you could save or just reallocation of those dollars to actually, helping kids and special education and things like that. I mean, it feels like a no-brainer. I don't know how much they can do without Congress, but it's going to be interesting to watch, and I'm sure that you guys are going to be watching it very closely as well, KPI.
We will.
Good stuff. Dave Trabert on KCMO. Well done there, Dave, as always. Anything else to report from Ottawa last night, by the way, now that I know that you were down there?
Well, we had a great turnout. There were about 50 people there, and we were talking about trying to get people excited about running for local school board. We have a new book we published called 8 Things to Know About Running for School Board, so that we can help recruit and train people so they know how to campaign, know what the issues are, and then how to be effective when they get elected.
And where can they get that book?
It's on Amazon at $19.99. Or if you're interested in running for school board, there's a page on the School Board Resource Center website where you can just sign up and get a free copy.
And there are going to be a lot of school board races this year. I know it's an off year, but there will be a bunch of school board races, right? So we're going to have a lot to talk about on that front. It'll be good.
Yep.
All right, Dave, you're the man. Thanks for being here.
All right. Thanks, Pete.
All right. Dave Trabert, Kansas Policy Institute on KCMO 95.7 FM, streaming on the KCMO Talk Radio app.